Gonna try this.
It's working.
Oh,
There we go.
I think we're already starting.
Yes,
we're already starting.
I heard the comments already. I did have my flip phone. Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties. Sorry.
It's all good. It's to be expected. We're talking about Rob here. You know that, right? we are talking about Rob. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us tonight for this. Just for this chat that we're going to have. We're going to have this chat, and I think throughout the week, or since we've been talking about having this chat tonight, we've been a lot of comments, a lot of queries, a lot of questions, which is kind of nice. So I'm really happy that you're able to make it on. I know we saw each other earlier. We were reminiscing, just like we always do. Every time we meet and we sit and talk, and we can go on for hours and hours and hours and talking about the good old days. The good old days in Market Lane, and that's what it is all about. And the thing that we try to put together, and why we're doing this, and this is why we're 10 weeks strong, is to bring back the memories. So, when I think of memories, I think of right here,
right here, guys,
right there.
That's it.
Showing that crowd.
I have a little bit more fabric, but that's okay.
No, I think they're about the same, Rob. Don't worry. I think they're about the same. So it's all good. So again, thank you for joining us. We're gonna start very simply. We're gonna start. When did Fresh Records open their doors? Okay, when did they open the doors? And how did you and Lou meet? And Eddie too, of course. So if you want to start with something simple like that, I know we're going to have a bunch of questions as we progressively go, and hopefully we'll be able to catch some because these comments stroll very quickly. But so that's the first question that I have for you. So again, when did you open the doors? When did you open Fresh Records? I'm sure you remember it to a T. And how did you, Louis, and how did you, Lou, and Eddie meet?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it. It's
Thank you.
nice to talk to you and to talk to your viewers and so forth. But as far as what year we opened, it was 1987, very long time ago. Of October, we opened up in Market Lane, and we were there for almost 10 years in the Market Lane. And, in 1993, 94, I believe we opened up a second location, which was at the St. Clair location, as many of you know. But as far as meeting Lou and Eddie, we knew each other years before that. I had a DJ group called Imagination back in the day.
That's right, I remember that.
Louis came into it later. I was DJing and he was playing freelancing, I guess, and I kind of, even though he won't admit it, but I brought him in.
He'll never admit it.
And kind of, took him under my wing and so forth. But
Lou would never admit it.
Yeah.
We both know that.
We worked, we were inseparable, him and I, for many years, coming over and, DJing and just kind of hanging out at my house. And, my whole basement was full of speakers and records and stuff like that. So both of us lovers of music. It was a progression into eventually we wanted to open up something. We had always talked about it. Eddie, Strange Society DJs, as many of you remember him.
Eddie was just there. He kind of followed suit, right?
Well, Eddie was a friend, and he was a DJ, so he was friends of ours and friends of Louis at the time. And then I knew Eddie from DJing at the weddings and so forth. So I met him that way, and then
Eddie Strange Society.
Him and Eddie were the ones that kind of started it as far as they wanted the store, and I kind of followed suit. I said, okay, well, I was asked to come into it. And then things happened, and I was always at the retail level. I was basically there. It was me and Lou, and then Eddie kind of transitioned to just wanting to DJ. He didn't really want to be in the retail environment, so I was there.
So it pretty much started before the record store, and I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a DJ company, a DJ service,
Yes.
That you would be, functions, sweet 16s to corporate functions to weddings to so on and so forth, right?
Correct.
I remember actually when we hooked up not too long ago today. You were telling me a story on one of the first gigs that you did. Okay, and the key thing on this story that you were telling me that stuck with me is that the music, not having the music. And those are your exact words. This is literally your first gig or your first official gig. And the main thing and the main thing is that the DJ need is the music, the good music, the proper music to play for these functions that you're doing. And you're saying that that particular function, and listen, we have to start somewhere, right? Where, we may be a little naive or whatever the case may be. And in your case, you said you played the same song, 2 or 3 times, and you had someone come up to you and said, what did they say to you?
Well, they said, we were very green to the business. We figured, we knew how to play and we were learning about the crowd. Back then it was 45 singles, a few vinyl. We're talking about 1981, 82. And, we figured we had a lot of music. We weren't prepared. And we were playing, jamming big guitar, if anybody remembers that, 2 or 3 times in the evening. It was a good song, but how many times can you dance to it?
Exactly, right?
And at the end of the night, it was embarrassing. It was actually in North York. It was called Keel's Place, actually.
Yeah.
And, guy came up to me, he goes, "Hey, what's your name? Imagination?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, you imagine you're a DJ, right?" So that stuck with me. And he goes, "You guys suck." I'm like, wow. I'm like, you know what? That was an eye-opener. So, you know what? Yeah, you could have taken it by maybe throwing them down the stairs. That's what I was thinking about doing. But
that's the easy solution. That's the easy solution.
I took it on a positive note. I said, he's right. We did suck. So, we had a party the next night, but we went down to, I believe it was Star Sound, and I said, guys, we got to spend some money, or else I can't have that again. The next night, it never happened, and we were always prepared. So then, as we were going along, the music was important. Yeah, you needed speakers and you needed amplifiers and some lights, but if you don't have the music, you could be as flashy as you want. It's not going to make a difference, right?
So this is the point. This is why I really wanted to bring this up. And I'm glad that you brought that up when we spoke earlier, because you're right. You can have the best sound, you can have the best lighting, you can even be the best DJ. But if you don't have the tunes or the right tunes, it all doesn't mean shit, right? So this is what leads me to Fresh Records, because my initial walk into that store, I was very young. I was maybe 14, 15 years old, and I was lucky enough to meet you. You're the first person that I met. I didn't know you at the time, but I felt after that day, we just hit it off and we became friends.
Right.
But more importantly, I walked into that store not knowing what I needed, how much I needed, and so on and so forth. And you taught me. You gave me the right direction, right? So that was an important thing for me walking into Fresh. And I think a lot of DJs, which leads me to my next question, felt the same way, especially the younger guys coming in. And talking about DJs. Fresh Records to me, and I think to a lot of DJs out there, was the hub. It was the music hub. It was the record hub north of the city, right? South of the city, or south of north of Toronto. I mean, so in Toronto, they had their stores and whatever they may be. But in Vaughan or in Woodbridge or north of the city, there was nothing. And then until Fresh Records came in. So what made Fresh Records what it was at that time? What made you guys the hub of the DJs and of the music industry? Because it wasn't just you bringing in the records to sell, but there was artists involved too. If you can elaborate on that.
Well, you know what? At the time, 1987 was a very good year for music, I have to say. As far as rock to punk, to pop. We're talking about Michael Jackson Bad, Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction. George Michael came out with Faith. Very, very big selling albums. Big year for music. we had a lot of, there was a lot of talent in Woodbridge as far as DJs. It was almost like a birth. And we saw that. Not that we wanted to open up, but we all lived in Woodbridge, number one. And we felt, you know what, let's keep it local, because there was no stores. I don't think there was ever a record store in Woodbridge. So we said, let's do it and see what happens. And we all had the experience.
For sure.
So we loved the music, so why not? And we had a base as far as networking through the years and dealing with people like Funky Joe, Domino.
Yep.
We all dealt with them, and they in turn returned the favor and came to us. All the DJs at the time, Bruno would send them to us. Joe would send them to us.
Exactly.
One hand feeds the other type
100%.
of the old school mentality.
100%.
And then that started with the younger guys, 16-year-old. There's a couple of them that I can remember. There's one, Tony Coppo.
Tony Coppo, great example.
Young kid came in, very green, wanted to learn the business. And, some people are intimidated at that age. But, I think for me, it was my age. I was 22 when I opened, which was young.
Very young.
But I was seasoned as far as that type of business. So they can relate, because I wasn't too old. And it worked. It worked.
100%.
Tony, then there was guys like DJ Manzone, Cosmic Cause. We'll get to Cosmo in a minute.
Great examples. Great examples.
And Cosmo came from a brother, from brothers of that used to DJ.
Yeah, I always see him driving around.
And that's how we met. But anyways, they all started youth. They were just waiting to nurture. Not only we sell the music and then say, have a nice day. But if you remember how it was, especially when we opened up, we reopened, which I believe was 89 or 90.
Yes.
That little corner became a learning center.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. It wasn't just a record store. First of all, and not even, I was going to say hangout, although it was to a certain degree a hangout, but like you said, it was a learning center. You walked in, and I think Tony Coppo saying it best is you made it, and you made us, the DJs, feel like family.
Yes.
Right? You came in, and listen, more than 90% of the time I walked into Fresh Records, and hey, what's going on? Hey, how's it going? Hey, Eds, you want something to eat? I mean, who walks into a record store and asks if they want food? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the pasta's ready. Let's eat.
I probably ate more lunch and dinner at Fresh Records than I did at my own house back in the day.
Yeah.
But and like I said, Tony says it best. You treated all your patrons, anyone that walked in through the door, you treat them like family, which is very important. And that's why people kept coming back. That's why I kept coming back. Not only did I need the vinyl and the latest Euro and freestyle or whatever else I was picking up, but it was there to learn some tricks of the trade, chat with some of the other DJs, maybe catch a little gossip of what's going on within the city, who's playing where and so on and so forth. When you needed that information, the hub was the place to go, and Fresh Records was the place to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. So you are probably the king, to me, of stories, okay? Of stories.
Yeah.
And no matter what, for us, hey, let's hang out for 10 or 15 minutes. That can never happen because, one story turns into another story, turns into another story, and then boom, 2.5 hours is gone. And it flew by like this because the stories are just fantastic, and it's something that you wanted to hear, right? One of the big things that I'll never forget about yourself and Fresh Records was your New Year's Eve parties. Mm-hmm. And that's more on the personal side with Rob,
right.
But Fresh was very incorporated with it, which was a huge part. And let me tell you, those New Year's Eve parties were absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I think a lot of DJs that went, or a lot of DJs that managed or were able to play at those events, and you were very selective, right? You knew every DJ literally that was in the city. you made that party very successful, and you had people that really wanted to be there, and you were sold out every single year.
Well, yeah, we did. Like sometimes in the beginning, I think we had 750 people, if I'm not mistaken. That was at Teal and Wilson.
And actually, before you answer that, Rob, very quickly, Tony Capel mentioned he did your last one. Okay, he did do your last one. And I knew that he did your last one. But Tony and I are going to have a separate conversation about this, and I'm gonna educate him on something a little bit later on. We're not going to get into that tonight, though.
Okay.
But you can continue on your story.
Okay, I remember, Well, it was supposed to be the last party, but the year later, I was kind of pulled back into it by a couple of guys from Scarborough that wanted to learn, how to do parties, and I kind of taught them. I'm like, guys, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do them. He goes, just get the, So I would be the one to get the hotel, to talk to the, event manager, the catering manager, get the party. They would finance it, and they brought all their. I didn't even know who these people were, quite frankly. All people from Scarborough, new faces. It was fun.
Yeah.
But, and then I kind of said, okay, guys, here you go. That's how you do a party. And they're like, it's simple for me, but some people that wanted to do it didn't have the, the idea of what it takes to organize. Like, they had the people, which was good, but these two young guys are going to walk into a hotel. They say, I want to have a party. They say, the exit sign is there. So don't let the door hit you as you walk through. It takes more than just, you know what I mean? Like,
of course.
Yeah, you need somebody to kind of walk in and to.
But that was your thing, Rob. Yeah. So that was your thing, Rob. That New Year's Eve party that you threw every single year always kicked ass. People wanted to be there. They knew the big wheel was putting something together. And that big wheel kept turning and turning and turning, and there was no stopping that wheel. It
got me quite dizzy at some point.
I'm sure it did, but it was also very successful too, which was great. And again, the important part was getting everybody together, having a great group, having a good time. And listen, with the food might not have always been great, but there was always alcohol, and there was always enough.
A few times, there was a couple of parties that I'm like, I went to the event manager. I'm like, what is this? Just actually 3 pieces of, of tortellini on a little plate. She goes, well, that's the appetizer. I said, that's unacceptable. I said, listen, let me make things very clear. This was not what I expected. Your food is horrendous. So the bar better be flowing like water.
Big time.
Big time. No hardships. Don't give us a hard time.
Make it happen.
Or it's going to be, there's going to be a riot.
Exactly, right? And so, thank God there was never any riots. But there was always good times.
But there could have been. But
100%, right? And if it was based on the food.
In the beginning, there was, a couple parties that the first party was like shocking. I'm like, wow, these people are quite young. And apparently what happened, I can tell you now, because it's, 25 years later, what happened was people were coming to the store and buying tickets, right? So we were checking people for the tickets. I'm like, okay, you look 19, whatever. Wow. They were buying them. It wasn't for them.
Wow.
So when the party came and there was a long lineup, I'm like, oh my God. There's a lot of younger people here. We're going to be in big trouble. So the show went on, and we took a risk, but hey, it happened, and I made sure that everybody got in, and nowadays it would have been shut down.
Oh, 100%. And that was a huge production. It was a huge production of people, not necessarily production. Don't get me wrong, the sound was there. All the sound that you wanted in the world. It was just, you couldn't get any louder than your New Year's Eve parties. And DJ competitions that were held. And that brings us to the next point. And I know we mentioned, we talked a little bit about Tony Campo. You also mentioned about Cosmic Cause that you wanted to talk about. So before we get to our last question, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few questions, you wanted to mention Cosmic Cause. And he was probably one of the prominent DJs that came out of Fresh Records per se. right? And you know, he was a big part of the Italo Dance Hits CD compilation that was produced by you guys as well. That was another big hit, which is great. So I know you wanted to make Cosmic Cause part of this conversation. And again, Tony Capo, Cosmic Cause is the champ. And I think we can all pretty much agree to that. You know, he's evolved over the years. He's still around. You know, he's into more of the sound and lighting type of things nowadays. And you know, as soon as you mention Cosmic Cause, boom, 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 it's all coming up. They're all coming up. Cosmic Cause. And I know, I'm sure you have stories with him too. So I'm sure there's a story that you'd like to share.
Well, when we opened the store, like I said, it was in '87. I believe then I wanted to do something different. I said, you know, let's bring back some rivalry. Let's get back the DJs together when we did it back in the day in the early 80s at Jane and Seven parties and stuff like that. So I said, you know what, I know what to do. So I organized the DJs that were there.
No, not the same.
You know, I said, guys, we're going to get everybody together. We're going to have 10 groups, and you're going to battle it out. And I had to explain to some of them because they've never done it before.
Yeah.
So I had gotten the people that were popular, not necessarily talented, but they can hold their own. So I knew
Very
how
important.
good they were because I've seen them DJ,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I get a phone call.
No, it's not.
Thank you, sir. Hold on. I'm going to wet my whistle here.
Well, there you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, done.
Cheers,
Cheers.
man. Nice cold Corona.
Beautiful. You got a Corona, yeah.
Yeah, let's
just drink it. Just go with it. Yeah.
Let's not mention that, please.
Next.
Yeah, no, sorry. Sorry. Anyway, so I get a phone call at the store, and it's Cosmo's brother, Pat. Now, Pat was a good friend of mine when I went to Chaminade, who in his own right was a very good DJ back in the day.
Gone.
So he had a lot of talent, spinning records. He used to make his own songs type of format, right? So I'd gone up against him as well, and I lost the competition because he was clearly much better. Like, he blew everybody away. Now with him, and you know, that's fine because we had stayed friends, and over the years when I was playing, I developed a lot of equipment, and you know, the other guys would come and I would rent to them, and I would rent to Pat. And anyways, that's how we became friends. Because he goes, listen, because I heard that you're doing this competition. Congratulations with your store. You know, he goes, would you guys have all the DJs? I said, we're full, right?
Yeah.
Because I have my brother. He's really good. You know, he's young, but he's up and coming. Do you think you can throw him in there? I said, well, okay, Cosmo. Yeah. Okay. So it was him and this guy, Vince. They were DJing together, right? So I said, okay, Pat, you know what?
What the hell?
Come by the store and bring your brother. I want to meet him. So we talked. He came in, you know, how's it going? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Came in. Cosmo's very quiet. Walks in, you know, hi, sir, you know, very to himself. And I said, how good is he? He goes, well, I said, Pat. So he told me, he said, he's this. I said, okay. I said, Pat, how is he compared to where you were? He goes, he's better than I am. Like, okay. So my wheels are turning, right?
Yeah.
So
You already
I'm thinking
know.
of entertainment value here, right?
Of course.
I'm like, okay. So I'm taking his word. Never seen him before. I said, okay, I'm going to put him on the poster. Surprise, right? So I said, okay.
So he didn't know.
So he was a late entrant.
Okay.
Put him on. He came to the meeting. Everybody goes, who the hell's this kid? Right?
Who's this guy? Yeah.
They came up to me. Is it fixed? No, it's not fixed. Who's it? I go, he's a late entry. Anyways, I go, I'm in charge. Don't worry about it. Right? Type thing.
Of course,
Up
that's right.
until that day when the party happened, which was at Rio Banquet Hall, okay, which is now the Julius Caesar on Finch,
Yep.
at 400.
Uh-huh.
It was a cold February day, the coldest day of the year, and I decided to have the party.
Best time.
Opened it up, got my friends who were the judges. I can't remember who they were. They were, and I had somebody doing the sound, which was amazing. One of my friends, and Lou was DJing, and I had a few of my other friends, hosting and stuff. But I was on the master of ceremonies, right, throwing dates to the crowd.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. There must have been over 1,000 people there.
I believe it.
First, second, and place. First, second, and third place. Third place was $100 gift certificate, Fresh Records.
Hey,
Second
do you remember who was? Do you remember the three winners?
So,
The first.
You know what?
we took that road, Carolina with the
I'm
trying
pretty
to
sure.
remember. I'm trying to remember. I know Cosmo. So Cosmo ended up winning, obviously,
Yeah.
$1,000, I believe.
Yeah.
And $300 was the second prize. So obviously, we used the money, whatever we had paid. So, anyways, I'm in the bathroom, and one of the DJs comes up. He goes, "Hey, man, is this fixed or what?" I go, "If it was fixed, do you think I would really actually tell you?"
This is the road. This is.
Obviously, you wouldn't. Obviously, you wouldn't.
Such a ridiculous question. I said, "You know me better. I would never do that." But I said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you who's going to win tonight because no offense to you and everybody who was in it. I've seen what you guys can do. I'm going to tell you right now, this kid's going to win if he's as good as his brother tells me." Everybody went up. Some did well, whatever.
So he stole the show. He pretty much stole the
He
show.
stole the show. He went up there. People were, I would have people dancing and while they weren't playing, just so people can have a good time and dance.
Yep.
He went up. He did a set. Everybody's mouth dropped.
Yeah. So he dropped. Yeah.
They're like, "Wow."
Eyes. Yeah. Cosmic eyes closed. Eyes closed. He doesn't need to look. Yeah.
Cosmo's so humble.
Yeah.
And he was, he's not one of these "I'm the best, get out of my way" type guys. He did his set. He blew everybody away.
Blew everyone
the
away.
judges were like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And
It was
from
an
that
easy win.
moment, that was it. He was, "I want you to play. I want you to play here. This, can you do
It
my
blew up.
sound?" He
blew up.
just exploded.
He blew up. Yeah. And I'm finding out here, third place went to Casanova, DJ Casanova, and second place. And the only person I know who would know this off the top of their head is Tony Capo. And second place, I think he said it was Bonus Beats. Yeah, there you go.
Mark
First,
was good.
there you go. So first
Mark
Cosmic
was
Cause,
good.
that's right. Second was
Joe
Mark.
won because of people love Joe.
Yeah.
And actually, Joe was the one
He had
that
support.
was fixed.
He's the one that was asking.
Yeah.
See, there you go. It makes sense, right? He had his own personal support. I know that's for sure.
He had a great support system. But he even admitted, he goes, "Oh my God, where did you find this guy?" I'm like, "Guys,
Yeah.
this is what these parties are all about."
He fell from the sky, so and that one worked out, and I'm sure there was a bunch of other DJs that came through those doors that were just as timid, just as shy, and just as quiet as Cosmo was. And there's some really, really good talent out there. Which leads me to, I do want to have a question from our viewers. So, I mean, whoever wants to reach out and ask a question, we can do that now before I ask my last question for Rob. And you know what? Tony Campo's been here since the beginning. Has been on since the beginning. So I'd like to give him the opportunity. Tony, if you do have a question, please go ahead and leave it on the comments, and we'll get Rob to answer that for you. And I know Tony is a huge supporter of yourself and Fresh Records. And like you said, he probably lived there more than I did, for sure. And there's a reason for it, right? So it obviously meant something to him. And hopefully he's going to come up with a question. Either he's thinking or he did mention something to me during the week. And it was like, can you ask Rob if he still has the MC Hammer poster in the window that he was selling for $21.99? I don't know if he said poster or record, but I think you said it was a poster. And if I remember correctly, it was a poster.
It probably was the record because it probably was from the U.S. at one point, and we had to pay. Anyways, it wasn't domestic at the time. I remember the poster. It sat there for years, even after the record was probably deleted. But I'm just saying that. Yeah, that was funny. He remembers these things. And
those are the things that he remembers. Yeah,
he remembers
those are the things.
Yeah,
and those are the things that trigger. And it was a record there. He just confirmed it. But I think he did have a question. I'm going to try to scroll back quickly. What group beat your attendance record? So I'm guessing he's referring to one of your gigs, one of your parties, and he's asking what group beat your attendance records, your attendance record. Now I don't know if he's starting something up with that question or not.
He is,
but he is, right? I kind of figured. So I don't know. Do you want to answer?
Well, I guess I have no choice to answer.
Yeah,
because
you're on the spot now.
usually the student, I guess, tries always to beat the master. And
Yes. I know where this is going.
well, when I had the attendance record, I guess, with the Real Banquet Hall and these other parties. And then Tony came along with, mind you, it wasn't just him. So let's be clear.
Set it straight. Set it straight, Rob. Set it
Let's be
straight.
clear. He had to combine his forces to beat my
Yeah, true.
record. I believe it was
Yeah.
with him and Sweet Emotion and
Yeah.
However, so just to be clear, I used to do parties, and like I did before, I brought in Sweet Emotion to teach them about the business and stuff, and then let them go. So you know what? As the years went by,
Yeah.
they became
That's right.
better,
That's right.
and they became more popular, and they worked at it from there. So, yes,
And that's
Tony, he did beat my record, but he had
He did. Yeah, it was a force that he put together, and I kind of figured that's where it was going. I didn't know all the information on it, but I knew that's what he was
Yes.
trying to get at.
Yeah, it was 3 against 1. So, I'll give him that. Yes.
Okay, well, he deserved it. He put his effort in. It took 60,000 flyers. So,
Yes.
and those flyers they came in handy. They definitely did their promotion. That was
They
the
did
Instagram.
the promotions, but it took a few years for them to beat me. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
Hey, listen. Hey, it takes time. It takes time. So, and like I was saying, those flyers were like the Instagram and Facebook of today's day, back in the day. So, Rob, we're slowly running out of time, but I do have one last question for you. What is your best memory of your time within Fresh Records? One.
Wow.
Best memory. That's a tough one. I know it's going to be a tough one because I think there was a lot of great memories. There. And even with my time, and I was lucky enough to actually somewhat be employed by Fresh Records. I was there on Sundays. I mean, it was a day. It was the shittiest day. Don't get me wrong, but it was a day that you want to be off.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll take that day. I'll do that
take
shit.
that day,
No
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And I think I saw, a DJ, maybe one DJ on the Sunday, because all the guys are sleeping. There's nobody that's coming
Well,
on
yeah.
the Sunday.
When you play on a Saturday and you're there till 4 in, you're not going to roll out of bed.
No. Who the hell's gonna go? No.
Yeah, Sunday was a bonus.
Yeah, it was a retail day, is what I called it. I was selling DJ line compilations left, right, and center.
It was a compilation.
And the new music.
Came, do you have that new one? Yeah, and they would.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it was only for 5 hours. Or so.
No. Yeah. So.
Well,
but
you
hey,
know what?
I enjoyed it.
There was a lot of good memories. For me, I would have to say probably the best memory when we got everybody really together was all the DJs and friends. We got everybody involved in some manner. Was 1994 World Cup, and that is we did it at Market Lane, and we also did it at the St. Clair location. So we had two locations.
We had both going. I remember that.
Rock in the house. So what happened? We did the party at Market Lane, and we did it with the mall management. They put TVs outside. People were around. It was bad.
That was absolutely crazy. I remember I was 20 years old, and I remember being there and being part of it, and it was absolutely madness, especially Woodbridge. I was in Woodbridge. I wasn't at St. Clair, and I remember it. And I think a lot of people that are on this feed right now will remember that too, if they were definitely part of that day. But that's a great memory. That was a great memory to have, right? Along with the rest and others that I'm sure that you've had over the many years within the Fresh Records days. And like I said, to me, very important days. I'll never forget them. I know you'll never forget them. And every time we talk, there's always a story. There's always a good memory, and there's always something that brings back a great memory within that period of time. So, and that again is what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do on Friday nights. MC Fab and myself. It's something that we do, and we bring back that music. We bring back the Euro and the freestyle, and we just want everyone to enjoy it and remember Fresh Records. You know what I mean? Which is very important. So, again. I thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure. Again, to chat with you, conversation, stories. We can go on and on and on and on. I know we can. And you know what? We'll probably do this again in the very near future. So again, thank you very much for coming on. Thanks to all the viewers. And I'm seeing the. We talked about this earlier too. How we were thinking that people are going to want the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody wants a T-shirt.
We want the T-shirt. By the way,
Yeah.
Edzo, you did a really good job with the T-shirt. I have to
Thank
say.
you.
Awesome,
Thank you.
by the way, thank you. Appreciate
Quality, 100%. Quality
Yeah.
was there, and it was fantastic. So if anyone does want a T-shirt, by all means, please reach out to me with Rob's permission, of course, which he has granted. I will be more than happy to order one for you.
I give you my blessing.
He's giving me his blessing. So, and you know what? Since we're on here, let's give shout outs to Lou. I want to give a big shout out to Lou.
Lou from
And
Fresh, yeah.
Give a shout out to Lou from Fresh, and of course Eddie Massey.
Yeah.
How could we not give him a shout
How
out?
can we forget Eddie? Yeah, he was part of. He was there in the beginning, and
Yeah,
he was part of of what we did. So of course, shout out to Eddie Massey as well.
yeah, for sure. Again, Rob, thank you very much. To all the viewers, thank you very much. The Friday Night House Party is coming up next, and we'll do this again tonight. Remember, Fresh Records, everyone. Fresh Records, good memories. Rob, again, thank you very much, buddy, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you for having me.
Have 100%. Have a good
All
night.
right. Good night.
Meno male.